We are going to get started today for Energy Explorers Live. This is our opportunity to connect and share with our community and the world at large. At iPEC, our mission is to raise the consciousness of the world one person at a time. And not only are we certified professional coaches, we're a community of helpers with big hearts and amazing stories to share. And this is our platform for being able to share them. Our series, the Energy Explorers series, highlights people who are using their talents and their drive and their highest selves in order to live their purpose and bring that out into the world. Getting to the heart of what it means to be a certified professional coach and the unique journeys that we all experience. So as we go along, I want to let you know to drop your questions into the Zoom Q&A section or the Facebook comments. So not the chat box, because we won't see you there. So we want to make sure that we acknowledge your questions and we can get answers to them during our conversation with our amazing guest, the beautiful René Johnson, who is joining me today in that vibrant purple. I love that color. It speaks so much to not only the personality that I've experienced and the energy that you share, but the journey that you've been on. I'm really into color right now. René is one of our iPEC certified professional coaches. She is also a top-selling author of many amazing books and the founder of Power Zone Coaching. Talk about a powerful name for a business. I love that. Power Zone Coaching was awarded at the top 10 leadership development training and coaching company of 2020. René herself felt called to a greater purpose ever since she can remember. The calling that she now claims as an inspired leader and a gifted empowerment coach. Her personal story is one of courage and defining moments, which I think we can all really relate to. And those powerful moments led her to a life path of helping others find their voice and finding their profound power to make significant changes for themselves. Now it's her life's work to teach others how to claim their voice, inspire change, and I love this, be the leader that their life deserves, achieving the vision that they never thought possible. That to me is like, that's everything. Be the leader that your life deserves. So René, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for such a gracious introduction. I'm honored to be here, as we talked about in the green room. This is a full circle moment for me.
Yeah. I mean, 2004, you went through the program, and when in my role as an admissions coach, one of the first things that I want to find out from someone is, what was really that inflection point? What was that moment that they said, you know what? I'm going to make the call. I'm going to dive into this coach training. Yeah. So I don't know if you would mind sharing with us.
Sure. Happy to. So it's frozen just a little bit. So I want to make sure we're still here. There we go. Okay. Now we're still here.
Yeah, I'm okay. Back. There we go.
That's okay. I knew it.
I don't know how much you heard of that question.
No, I did. So my background initially was, and still is, because I do some things internationally with the American Dental Association. I have several courses online with them, but my background's originally in the dental industry. And I was involved in, all the way from assisting to consulting in the field. So grew throughout the years in my experience there. But during that, I started identifying the strains that these dentists had and how they didn't teach them when they went to dental school how to become a business leader, a business manager, all those things to help them accelerate. They taught them dentistry. And I started developing some tools and resources to help the doctors I was working with to plug what I now call your power leaks, wasted time, resources, and strengths and talents. And I was wanting to elevate what I was learning. And I had heard, lightly through some educational forums and through some of the research I was doing about this coaching. So this is back in 2002, 2003, way back. Yes, I'm a grandma now. Okay. And I started researching different programs with the newly known ICF. And I came across, incidentally, iPEC. And back then we are known as certified empowerment coaches. In fact, I kept that certification. I have my certification over on my desk too, Carla. Be over there, the certified professional empowerment coach. And so I researched it out, did interviews with them, and then went to the program 2003 and 2004. It's a longer program than they have now, but that's okay. They just got more efficient, and we had to do it offsite and different things, probably why. But the point being is that when I went to the very first program, we did long weekends and people flew into it. I actually talk about this in one of my books, my very first book, Leaving Your Comfort Zone. In the early preface part, why I got started in coaching, I talk about my iPEC story in here, by the way, in there. And I talk about going in and how I had this sense of knowing. I had this sense of belonging. I had this sense of, this is the missing puzzle piece for me, empowerment. I was like radiating off the charts, and I felt like coming home, and it was like this perfectly fitted glove that it just fit me, the empowerment piece of it. And that's why I chose it. And the models that you guys had set up allowed me to really be effective. And by the time I graduated, I had already developed my very first program that I was able to get paying clients, and graduate at that time with the most paying clients ever that iPEC had ever seen. So that's the journey up to the graduation part of it.
Yeah. And you know what, one of the things that I heard you talking about was, being able to identify this need, this opportunity where individuals were not necessarily reaching their highest potential. They were kind of going through the motions, right? Just kind of doing what was expected of them. Mm-hmm. And instead of really reaching their highest potential, which by seeing that, creating a much more powerful environment within the offices with the dentists. Mm-hmm. And so that's, when you talk about this idea of, being a leader in their life, instead of just kind of operating at that default level, you've created that awareness that there are all of these other opportunities to lean into to be better, faster, stronger, not only for yourself, to be, contributing at all levels of your life.
Well, that's why the empowerment portion spoke to me, and you guys still teach that in even higher levels now with your energy work and others. So to me, it made sense. It was an extension of my beingness, and that coming home to my beingness has been a journey for me, and it's been a real full circle, which coaching is really about that in the development of yourself, that I know we'll get into. But as far as the leader part of it, yes, in that role. Did you know that the dentist office has one of the highest suicide rates, the lack of satisfaction? Yeah, it has such high turnover, a lot of pressure, a lot of strain on relationships. And I fell in love with the idea of there has to be a better way. There has to be a way that they can find what they're looking for in their business. And ever since I was a little girl, I felt this sense of purpose. I felt this personal calling myself. And I felt this positioning that I didn't know what it was yet. Now I know it's meant to be a leader and be a vessel of transformation, as I like to call it in my recent book. Okay. I won't start pulling all the books out here, but it's that vessel of transformation. And I remember that, I've tried on different roles throughout my career, and I had to learn how to make decisions and not judge me and try different things. And then my own personal story, which we can get into in a second, all of this at that moment of realizing that these leaders I was working for, and I was trying to help them find their greatness, help them find that vision, like we talked about in the bio, and achieve the visions they never thought possible. There was this missing piece. They could have systems and processes, which they didn't have. I brought those. Okay. But then the other aspect of finding their leadership why, so that they could inspire changes in themselves and inspire in others, and then be equipped to lead those changes, and the full circle of the value it brought to make them not only, fulfill personally and bring that growth and development, so they wouldn't be the revolving door that dentistry typically is and was. I haven't been at that level in a long time, but it still is in the higher level. But it allowed them to also be more profitable, but from the inside out. And that is the core difference that we are taught in the iPEC coaching, is the inner outer directed work.
Yeah.
And that connection of our inner goals to our outer. I mean, we could talk all day, right, Carla, about that?
I like, oh my gosh, yes, I've got
Yes.
many questions and many things to share. One of the things that you had mentioned is, and I think we all feel this, that, that sometimes we're chasing outer titles, right? A title, a job, and we end up defining ourselves by that role, by those actions. But one of the things that you shared is that, it's not about changing the roles. It's not about changing your title, your niche. Because those things don't represent the truth of who you are. And I would just love you to kind of to talk a little bit about that, because that really spoke to me.
Yeah. So early on in my coaching career, I did do that. I did that chasing of, the latest, greatest, rabbit, balloon, rainbow, whatever, put that name behind. Okay, I'm gonna be this kind of coach. I'm going to serve this kind of people. I'm going to do this and do this. And yes, there is, to become positioned and to be branded and to attract like a lighthouse, you do need to find who is your tribe. So I'm not discounting that, but ultimately it's about finding you. And the coaching itself, and going through it in the program, as well as ongoing and continuing to grow and evolve. In fact, I think what makes me an excellent coach, and what makes others that I affiliate with, is that we use coaches and we don't stop learning and growing. And it's important to know it's not an arrival point just because you go to the program. It is a launching off pad. And it's important to also understand that, to me, at least, I'll just speak to me, that the whole journey of it was to find my truth, find my personal source, the beingness that through my journey, I hadn't yet come full circle. I felt that vibration connection with the program and the energy underlining with it. But the evolving aspects, as I've grown as a coach now, really long time, since, but it is the beingness and understanding that it's not about the title. It's really been about claiming me as a coach. And what does that mean full circle? What does it mean to be a coach? And I think anybody that is looking to either expand their coaching business or looking about becoming a coach through your program is getting really clear with, what does that mean to you? Because it is not the credentials. Those are valuable to me. They gave me great tools and have leaned on them many times. But it is the confidence, and it is the truth of finding, how am I going to deliver my highest beingness, my highest truth? And this journey has brought that around. And so that my logo back there is, or this way, back there, is the power zone, okay? And the individual reaching out of it to what? To a next power zone, yes. But between that and the next one is another comfort zone. And if we're lucky, many times in our life, we will find the next comfort zone, and we will need to grow and develop out of it into our next power zone. Okay? That is the gifts that we get. So when you embark on this journey as a coach, it really is about learning how to be in your purpose. It is learning how to get strong in your why. It is learning how to be a coach. Yeah. It really is about that. And that's different than the outer tools and resources. So get ready for your personal journey, because you will go through one if you're doing it right.
Oh, well, amen to that. What you're sharing is so true. I think that, what I'm hearing is that obviously going through a program, you're going to get the skills and tools, but that being open to the process, leaning in, allowing that space for your own personal growth, to connect with your own, inner voice.
In fact, you need to, because if you're doing it right, I mean, I am such a, the growth of my coaching has improved through the years, and it's allowed me also to let go, actually, to do less, because I've gotten more stronger and where I'm truly supposed to serve. And And as you stay ahead of the curve as a coach, as I mentioned, getting coaching yourself, so that I have a team. I've had a team for years, but I keep adding. And so I can delegate down different aspects and keep elevating to my strengths, right? And so it's not a one-stop shop. And I find that when I coach, because I have a program, I've coached iPEC graduates off and on, and not only on entrepreneur strategies that you're going to need to learn, especially those coming from the corporate environment. It's a different beast to be an entrepreneur, but also in getting comfortable to be in what I just wrote an article for a big magazine out in the LA area about the futures in the now. It's learning how to be in your now space, learning how to not get stuck on everything you just learned and not get too far ahead in your future of all the pretty things and exact things you need to have. Where your success is going to happen is learning how to be with yourself in the now space, because that's where your greatest wisdom is going to be. And the vibration that you're going to give to other people is in that space. And yes, even at the highest levels in corporate America, in fact, they are hungry for this. I know that from my clients. Does that help you fill that gap right there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you bring up such a great point. I think we're, especially in the world that we live in, we're all sort of standing back and watching what's happening and just assuming that everybody else has got it together. But it doesn't matter whether you are that sort of highest corporate, rank, or just, coming in. We all have those tiny little voices in our head that are popping up to say, are you sure about that?
Who are you? Who are you to be? Who are you? And so your personal growth, it needs to walk side by side with learning the disciplines that you're going to learn in the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when you think about, because you talk a lot about how your life was defined by really moments of courage and these key moments that pushed you into a space where you had to take some bold action. And, for a lot of people, those moments might not necessarily be as sort of, defined as these exclamation points, but I'm curious for you, I guess, what did that feel like? How did you know that, it was time to push away from this space of comfort, to find your own power zone?
Yeah. So my backstory is that I am a domestic violence champion because I've long grown outside of my comfort zone that I had to discover in that process. I didn't deserve what happened to me, obviously. And then I went on to create a really powerful, be a founder with some other powerful women and create Cheryl's United, which is now an international program. Okay. And it's all about becoming a Cheryl in your own life, and so that you can be a Cheryl in the life of your children and your community. And so I had to find my way to my own Cherylness, if you will. And through that journey of coming out of, now I asked for help, I challenged the environment, but it was back during the O.J. Simpson trial where I finally was able to get even enough courage to finally break out of the situation. And it was what the DA said was the worst case of domestic violence he's ever seen. I'm lucky to be alive. So you do not have to have this like life and death situation to be in a comfort zone. It starts out very subtly, and then it starts to be a tolerance factor, and then it becomes normal behaviors, no matter what your comfort zone is. But when there became certain catalysts, turning points, that I was finally had my voice heard. And mind you, I had told many people, but they didn't have the comments. They didn't know where to go. And so with that, because of time limits today, and I do talk more about that in one of the sections about, identifying, I forget the name of it, but I'm sorry, I just drew a blank, but it's about taking the necessary risk. You have to be willing to take necessary risk in your life. And when that moment came for me, and now I can look back and see the purpose of my journey. Fast forward, I had enough counts for 4 felony charges, and I had moved across the state in a town I didn't live, didn't have family, didn't have friends. I was in the I was protected from my assailant, my ex-husband. And we had done all the work over 3 grueling years, and we had ready for this. I get a call from the DA, And he said, Renee, I have some news for you. Are you sitting down? I'm like, no. And he says, we have ironclad case. We have affidavits, sworn affidavits. We have hospital records. We have all of this. Unfortunately, someone forgot to cross a T and dot an I, a signature. And we missed the statute of limitations by 180 days. There's nothing more we can do for you. Now, that moment after we finished our call, I fell to my knees, and it was a long process. I could have given up easily. It's been a long, long journey with me and my 2 young children and going through this, right? And not having the family support. That part of me, that source, I literally was pulled up to my knees, and I heard this voice say, this is not how it ends. And I put on my mama bear super armor. And I went off and I got online and I learned enough to put myself eventually back in the courtroom and fight for my children's safety because they were being abused as well. And with his high-powered attorney and him and me, myself, and I, that beingness, that strength, that empowerment, and the judge. And guess what? I won. And I ran out of the courtroom, and as I was going out, true story, a guy runs up to me and he says, what law firm do you work for? And I'm like, I don't, but it sure feels good to be mistaken, for it. So that story goes, yeah, exactly. So that story goes on. And this fact is that full circle with Cheryl's United, we had a reporter come out affiliate with CNN for our programs. We had Rebecca Wall, who was part of that FLDS had come, and she was one of our people that we helped bring forward out of her, and captiveness. And I remember I was telling him the story. And at the moment he says, hold on. He goes, what did it feel like when the DA didn't have the power to do anything? How did that make you feel? And it was in that moment, without thinking about it, I blurted out, the DA never had the power. I always had the power. And that's one of the pivotal moments of my growth and continuing to evolve to that strength. And, in this title that you guys picked for coaching as a foundation for a strong sense of self. No matter what your healing that is needed, because it will. All of the coaches that I brought through my program to elevate the iPEC program and to help them with their program have all had an area that they've needed to heal so they could find their voice, that strength, and be that leader in their life more bravely, taking those risks and championing it out of those comfort zones so they could become the true greatness in their work, yes, but in their life, and be that example. So if iPEC speaks to you, I guarantee you have a beautiful journey ahead of you to not only heal and elevate and evolve others to their greatness, whether it be business or life or in between, but for yourself. And that's where one of your greatest growths are going to come. And be open to it. Be open to it.
Thank you for sharing your story. And before it even came off your lips, I'm looking back to that line that we have here, and that's being the leader that your life deserves. And that's certainly how you showed up in that moment, and really embodying the premise that the power is already with you, and that the opportunity is to discover it and to have that courage to step outside your comfort zone and to lean into what you beautifully coin as the power zone, because that's right. Step outside. I know it's out there somewhere on a poster. The minute you step outside your comfort zone, that's where the magic happens.
That's where the magic happens. And though you'll want to have, those professional barriers to not transfer, yourself on your clients, I'm going to tell you right now, people have BS monitors out there, and they're going to know vibrationally if you've done your work. They're going to feel it, and they're going to sense if you're timid to take them to where they need to go because you haven't gone there. And they're going to respect you more. I've spoken at the state capitol and shared my story down from Arnold's office when he was governor, right, in California. And so own your truth. Own your truth. If you're going to be a public speaker like me, if you're going to write a book, if you're going to do other elements, the story that you tell of your journey is going to have what's the word I'm looking for? It is the vibrational current. It is the intuition, if you will, current that people are going to pick up and resonate with, that you're the right coach for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Law of attraction,
So
baby.
your truth is going to shine through, huh? What'd you say?
I said law of attraction, baby.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And you're going to have, and like I said, big corporations, Fortune 500, they still want, they're going to feel your vibration. They're still going to want to know your truth. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Put it out there. It'll come right back to you. So I just want a general message to everyone out there. If you've got questions, please share them. We are running a little bit low on time, but we'll get those answered for you. We're
Sure.
also going to include some links in the chat if you'd like to get in touch with René, learn more about her practice, the books that she's written, the platform that she shares, her nonprofit. We'll make sure that you've got that information as well. If you've got logistical questions about how to be a coach or have other questions about what it might look like for you to take the next step into your power through a coach training journey of your own, we've also got you covered. We'll include a link. You can reach out to one of our esteemed admissions coaches. We are waiting to meet you and to hear about your vision and the journey you'd like to be on. So you can book a call with an admissions coach. And we actually have upcoming coach office hours on March 4th. I think I'm going to be there for that too. So come on back to chat with me and we'll share a little bit more about what it looks like to be a coach and go through a coach training program. And we will follow up. If you registered for the call, we'll follow up with a link so you can have the recording at hand so you can watch this amazing conversation with René again and take some more notes. I know that I've got a page of them right here. I wish we could keep going and ask you more, but René, I want to thank you so much, not only for sharing personally your story, but sharing your energy with us today. And we'll look forward to being able to connect on a future episode of Explorers Live. So take a look in the chat. You've got all those links, and everyone just be safe, be healthy, be well.
Thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope you guys who are listening lean in and know that iPEC can give you the tools to unlock a fabulous, beautiful future at being a coach.
Love that. That's right. Being. It's a good place to be. All right. Thank you so much again. And everyone have a great day. Take care.